All right, I've got a great show for you guys today. It's going to be a little bit of a lightning round. I started off wanting to cover one stock, but then knew I had to cover a couple other big techs, small cap, and we're going to look at some cryptos that are outperforming or going against the downtrend that crypto started with today. But it does look like it's somewhat turning for crypto. Bitcoin's starting to pick up some momentum again. We have not capitulated. Big tech hasn't capitulated, and neither has crypto, and it's setting up opportunities. One of the opportunities that I've talked about in almost every single video that I've done over the last 2 weeks is that there are some big tech stocks that are worth buying the dip. I've called them out. Amazon, Google, and Tesla, and each and every one of them has been worth buying the dip. I'm going to cover some technicals for those who are in Amazon and Google today, because we also need to be aware that the market's getting choppier. There's definitely short fuse on the sell button. People are afraid to hold big tech at this elevated level. We all know the market's been pushing up, and nobody knows how high it's going to go. There could be, facing the market, some buying exhaustion. And so every single time we get up a little higher, we've seen some hard sell-offs. That's a cautionary tale for all of us who are trading this market. And I'm going to remind you guys, as we look at Amazon and Google, that we may be facing the same thing. But Amazon's got some steam going with it today, and I'm going to give you guys what my target is. And we're going to look at that. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for commenting on the video. Thank you for hitting the like already. Hit the subscribe if you're new to this page to get insights on the market, as well as weekly and monthly trade setups that are doing pretty good. Guys, let me know in the comments section if you made money on Amazon and if you've been following this page and my confidence in Amazon move helped you. Let me know in the comments section. All right, before we get too deep into some of those big tech stocks, I need to talk about Unity. Unity was another great trade that we had that was given on this page before it took off. Now, I just want to point out, people have been asking me, Josh, where's support and resistance, and where is it going? Well, I'm going to give you guys the bullish and bearish scenario on Unity and let you know in general how I think the stock is performing overall. Right now, there is support at $38.60. Now, beneath that, the next level of support is at $36.50. Now, we have more room beneath us to support than we do to resistance above us. We are really right beneath an area that might operate as a decent resistance at $40.80. We haven't quite hit it yet. Now, I do think that we're going to push up and hit that number, and who knows, sometimes I'll be making these predictions, and while I'm making the video, it does what I'm expecting it to do. But I think that once we get to $40.80, I think we're going to see more selling pressure. Now, we had a real strong move up. That was the move that I predicted. It's come to pass. Now, I'm expecting that we would consolidate at this level, and I do think that overall, Unity is going to continue in an uptrend, but I would feel more comfortable locking in some profits or raising my stop loss once we got to $40.80. And then if it kicked me out, I'd feel more comfortable buying back in between 38 and 36 for another push higher down the road. That's kind of what it's saying to me right now. The chart and the candles look pretty good. None of them are giving us signs of a sell-off or any form of capitulation. They're both showing strength right now. And so, you might just want to raise that stop loss and let Unity run. All right, let's talk briefly about another prediction that I made going into this week for Wish. I want to point out some specifics on Wish. Over in the Discord, which is the Stock Squad Patreon, I gave the trade setup going into this week for Wish. Now, in general, I want to point out that Wish has suffered a long decline, and it really has been an underperformer, and it's still sitting under the 200-day moving average, which technically means the bears have control over it. But it's got a high short interest, and it could squeeze, and it's been slowly moving off of an extreme oversold condition, and the chart's been showing some signs of life. Now, I pointed out that $5.20 would be the ideal entry, and I also suggested when I gave the trade setup in the Discord that you would want to break up your buys into a handful of buys, which means you don't just lump sum the minute I give the trade setup. If you're going to go in with $500 or $1,000 or $5,000, you divide it into 4 or 5 individual buys, and you buy it as it's going down or even as it's coming back up. That's the safest way to get into some of these small cap stocks, because we can't determine exactly what the bottom was going to be. If you remember, the trade alert said that 520 to 480 was the ideal zone of support and where we might get a nice little bounce. Once we get in, once we move up and then move up, you want to make sure that you put your stop loss in right above your average cost so that you are less likely to lose any money. This is not a suggestion for what you should buy, sell, or hold. This is what I'm doing with Wish. All right, let's just take a step back and look at the S&P 500 heat map. We can see that today it's kind of a mixed day, and it's ominous to me that Apple continues to show signs of weakness. I always look at Apple as sort of the base foundation of my view of the market. Of if Apple's going up, then you can rest assured that big tech may follow. But when Apple continues to operate under selling pressure, you know that there could come some selling pressure for the rest of big tech. So we're at that point where Apple is showing some weakness to me. But we're enjoying a beautiful day up on a handful of other big tech stocks. Amazon and Google. Meta's doing quite nicely. Tesla did pretty good over the last couple of days. We saw that Tesla came all the way up to 258, which was a fulfillment of the prediction that I originally made that we would hit 258, 260, and 262. Now, we're up at the top of the range. It's getting a little bit scary, so make sure that you are either locking in profits. But we're going to focus right now on Google. I'm going to start off. I'm going to give you guys some fresh technicals on Google. If we go to the Google chart, I want to point out right now that resistance is 137.40. So this big, beautiful, tall green candle pushed us right up to resistance where we stopped. Now, I want to also say that above 137.40, which is resistance, is a bigger resistance zone between 139 and 141. This has been an area where when we've come up and touched it, Google has sold off. And so to get above that zone, to squeeze higher the way that we saw Amazon do today, would require a lot of volume. And so right now we've come back up into this range. I think we're going to test that zone between 139 and 141. We may not. So be careful, but we could test it, and if we see a strong rejection candle from there, we know that Google isn't going to be able to push above its current resistance just yet. But the big point that I made to you guys recently is that Google is one of those stocks out of all the big tech stocks that typically is the last to move. And so there's still opportunity for Google to go higher. So if we do get above 141, this will absolutely shoot up to 160 over the course of the next 30 days. But there's a ton of resistance right now at that 139 to 141 zone. Get rejected, and we come back beneath 138 with any form of selling volume. The area that I'm going to be looking for it to come back to is 133. I'll also be watching 133, that if we were to break beneath that, it would be a place where I'd be looking for puts all the way down to 125. Those are the areas of support. Right now, we're towards the top of the range, watching with some optimism to see what Google does with this area of resistance, to see if it can squeeze higher the way that Amazon is squeezing higher today. All right, let's dive into Amazon. Now, people have been fighting me on Amazon. I've had negative comments because I've called Amazon last week the big tech buy of the week, and Amazon's done exactly what I expected it to do. Matter of fact, if you follow the trade alert that I gave in the Discord on 12/8, I told everybody that I was buying calls for 12.29 with a strike price of $155 at the price of 72 cents. This morning, those are at $2.24, which is a 211% profit from that price. Now, if you had gotten into it in the 4 days after I made that trade alert, it went down to 60 cents, which means you would have gotten even a better price. But now people are going to be asking me, Josh, should I buy Amazon for the big push up after it's already had the big move that we've enjoyed today? And that, you guys, is what we classically call FOMO. But for those who are in it, let me give you guys the areas of resistance that I see it going to push up against. There's really no significant resistance above it right now, which means that this thing still has room to go higher. The area of resistance that I see directly above us is 156, and I see that as a light resistance. And so Amazon absolutely can move up to $161 right now, but for those who are already in it, we're just simply trying to get more profit. I wouldn't recommend necessarily getting into it at this point unless you have a very tight stop loss and you have the time to sit there and watch it in case it begins to sell off. You'd want to take profit and get out of your options. At the moment, I'm holding my Amazon. All right, I'm going to get into some crypto here in just a minute. Let me take a quick station break for the Mumu Investment app. If you need to get better trade tools going into 2024, I want you to check out and click the link for the Mumu Investment app, which is in the top pinned comment of this video. These guys do offer better trade tools. They've got 8 conditional order types. They've got the stop loss and conditional ordering that you need to take profits and to manage your trades when you are not able to keep an eye on them throughout the day if you're working. They're available in the US, Australia, and Canada, and the offer in each location is different, so you want to click on the link to see what the offer is that's available for you. Right now in the United States, they're giving away up to 15 free stock for opening and funding an account, as well as their best deal right now is their 5.1% interest that they're giving on your cash that's just sitting in the account. So if you want to begin to open up an account, get your free stock, and let your cash just begin to make over 5% interest, then you can do that right now with the Mumu app. Earn some cash and get prepared to invest in 2024. Let's go now to the crypto heat map. Now this morning when I looked at the crypto heat map, it was largely red, but as the day is going by, crypto's doing a little bit better. This morning, the only significant green large cap crypto that was looking good today was Solana. And so I wanted to take a moment and give you guys my thoughts on the Solana chart. When I last covered Solana, it was in the $60 range, and I predicted that we would hit the $75 to $78 range, and shortly after, we did. I also pointed out at that time that we were dealing with a beautiful flag pattern, which was bullish, and often was a continuation pattern. Now, I also want to point to you guys that we're in the exact same setup. We moved up to 78. We've been fluctuating ever since. We've got another flag pattern, which is often a continuation bullish pattern. And so if we stay above the current price and we get above $73, then we'll maintain that flag pattern and we absolutely could find a breakout point pushing us higher. And I currently think that the next price target that we would hit is $81. And so there is room to the upside on Solana. And I'll tell you that it really looks to me like the sharks or the whales are liking Solana right now and they're pushing the price up. But if you remember the last time I covered it, I said make sure that you have your finger on that sell button because Solana is one of these stocks that I think is centralized and can be manipulated and can have some massive price swings. This thing was under $10 in the last 52 weeks, and now we are sitting up here close to $80. And so there's a lot of room for the whales to take profit, and you guys don't want to be buying in at the top. If you're in it and you're in a swing trade and you're looking for the next target that it might hit, in my mind, the next target's $81. That's what I'm watching. Now, I have not sold any, but the closer and closer and the higher and higher it goes, I am starting to feel a compulsion to consider doing it. But it's been wise to hold the winners. And other analysts are calling Solana up to $100. I'm not currently doing that. I don't see a clear path just yet technically to $100. Right now, I would like to see how it performs once it runs up to $81, and we'll go from there. A couple other bullish things I want to point out to you guys on Solana is the local candles. We've got these candles with these beautiful long tails. Those are very bullish. We've seen a couple of them. It's pointing to the momentum. People are buying the dip on Solana, and so there still may be a bullish move up. We're also sitting above the 8 EMA, which is the exponential moving average, and the fact that we're using the 8 is a smaller time frame, which again is a signal that the current and local momentum is bullish and it's pushing higher. So keep an eye on it. Specifically, if it breaks above 73, I think we could see a push up to 81. That's what my target is. I want to give you guys a prediction on SHIB. You guys know that I'm in a large SHIB trade. SHIB and Doge. I put an equal amount of money into both of them, and I see that I believe that SHIB is going to have a push-up move at some point. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, today, or a week from now, but I'm predicting that SHIB is going to have a push-up move to quad 0.15, right? So not 15 cents, quad 0.15. And I believe it's going to find support on 509. So I think moving forward, we're going to see the 509 operate as support, and we're going to eventually push up to the quad 0.15. And so that's your prediction for SHIB. The final stock I'm going to cover today is Alibaba, and I saw that today in the Discord, StockMo gave some technicals on Alibaba and pointed out that the chart was continuing to remain in a bearish trend. Now, you guys know who followed me that I'm daily buying Baba shares for the long haul. I'm accumulating them at this price point. I'm not buying hundreds or thousands of shares. I'm just buying a couple. But my target is that we will capitulate beneath $70, and I'm going to continue to enter puts. Every time we push up, I'm going to roll my puts out. Now, this trade has continued to be profitable for me, and today my Alibaba puts are up again, and I'm scaling them in size, and I am expecting a breakdown beneath $70. It may not happen. My longer-term time frame view for Alibaba is bullish. My short-term view for the charts is bearish. And I noticed that StockMo also confirmed that in the Discord today. That's it for today, guys. Let me know in the comment section if you're in any of these trades and what your thoughts are on them. I'm here on vacation, and so I may not produce a video every day, but I will stay connected. Hit that subscribe button if you need the next update. Talk to you guys soon. Peace and blessings.